You see your phone light up. It's ringing. Your chest tightens just a little. You look at the screen, and instead of answering, you let it ring. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll call back later. Maybe you text, can we talk later? Or maybe you just pretend you didn't see it. Now here's the strange part. You're not antisocial. You can talk for hours with the right people. You can laugh, connect, even open up deeply. But phone calls? They feel exhausting, uncomfortable, even intrusive. So what's really going on here? Why do some people feel a genuine resistance, even anxiety, towards something as simple as a phone call? Let me show you something interesting. Imagine this. You are texting someone. You have time. You can think. You can choose your words carefully. If you don't know what to say, you pause. If you want to sound funnier, smarter, calmer, you edit yourself. Now compare that to a phone call. There's no pause button, no edit option, no time to think. It's just you in real time. And for many people, that's where the discomfort begins. Because phone calls remove control. Your brain, especially the part responsible for social awareness, is constantly trying to predict what's coming next. It wants to prepare. It wants to respond correctly. It wants to avoid awkwardness. Texting gives your brain exactly what it loves: time and control. Phone calls take both away. So when someone calls unexpectedly, your brain reacts almost like it's being thrown into a live performance without rehearsal. And that feeling, that slight panic, that urge to avoid, it's not random. It's your brain trying to protect you from uncertainty. Now, think about this. When you're on a call, silence feels louder. In texting, silence is normal. You can reply after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even an hour, and no one questions it too much. But on a call, even a 3-second pause can feel awkward. Your brain starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Why aren't they talking? Should I say something? And suddenly, a simple conversation feels like pressure. This is especially true for people who are naturally more introspective or sensitive to social cues. Their minds don't just listen, they analyze. Every tone shift, every pause, every word. It's like having a built-in overthinking machine running in the background. And phone calls feed that machine perfectly. Now, here's something deeper. People who dislike phone calls are often not bad at communication. They're actually more aware of it. They notice things others ignore. They think about how they sound. They worry about interrupting. They replay what they said. In psychology, this is sometimes linked to higher levels of self-monitoring, the ability to observe and adjust your own behavior in social situations. Sounds like a good thing, right? It is, but there's a catch. Too much self-awareness can turn into self-pressure. Instead of just talking, you're managing how you talk. Instead of just listening, you're analyzing what you hear. And that turns a simple phone call into a mentally draining experience. So your brain learns something over time. It learns that calls equal effort, calls equal pressure, calls equal unpredictability. And naturally, it starts avoiding them. But there's another layer to this: control over boundaries. When someone calls you, they're asking for your attention right now, not later, not when you're ready, not when you finished what you're doing, right now. And for people who value their personal space or mental energy, this can feel like an interruption, not just of time, but of inner calm. Texting respects boundaries. Phone calls demand presence, and your brain notices that difference. That's why even if you like the person calling, you might still feel resistance. It's not about them. It's about the sudden shift in your mental space. Now let's talk about something people don't always admit: fear of unpredictability. In a text conversation, you can guide the flow. You can end it when you want. You can steer it in a direction that feels safe. But on a call, you don't know where it's going. Maybe it'll be quick. Maybe it'll turn into a long conversation. Maybe it'll get awkward. Maybe it'll bring up something emotional. Your brain doesn't like maybe. It likes certainty. So when a phone rings, your mind instantly runs through possibilities, and many of them aren't comfortable. And here's the twist. Even if none of those things actually happen, your brain still prepares for them. That's why the anxiety feels real, because to your mind,
Uncertainty is a kind of threat. Now, think about how communication has changed. We live in a world where texting, voice notes, and messaging apps dominate. Conversations are no longer forced into real time. They're flexible, controlled, filtered. So when a phone call comes in, it almost feels outdated, not just in technology, but in emotional demand. It asks for something we're slowly becoming less used to: immediate, unfiltered interaction. And for many people, that feels intense.
But here's something important. Disliking phone calls doesn't mean you're socially weak. It doesn't mean you lack confidence. It doesn't mean you're bad at communication. In fact, sometimes it means the opposite. It can mean you're thoughtful, you process deeply, you value meaningful interaction over quick surface level talk. You don't want to just talk, you want to communicate well. And when the environment doesn't support that, like in sudden, unstructured calls, your brain resists. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine being asked to give a speech without preparation. Even if you're a good speaker, you'd feel nervous. Not because you can't speak, but because you didn't have time to prepare. For many people, phone calls feel exactly like that: unprepared, immediate, uncontrolled. And your reaction isn't weakness, it's your brain asking for a different kind of space. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some people who hate phone calls can actually talk for hours when they choose to. Notice the difference? Choice. When you choose the moment, your brain relaxes. When the moment is chosen for you, your brain resists. So it's not communication you dislike, it's the lack of control around it. And that realization changes everything. Because now, instead of thinking, why am I like this? You start thinking, oh, this is how my mind works. And that shift from judgment to understanding is powerful. Because once you understand it, you can work with it. Maybe you prefer scheduling calls instead of answering randomly. Maybe you like voice notes because they give you time to think. Maybe you simply accept that texting is your natural style. And that's okay. Not everyone is built for the same type of communication. Some people thrive in spontaneous conversations. Others thrive in thoughtful ones. Neither is better. They're just different. So the next time your phone rings and you feel that hesitation, don't rush to label it as a flaw. Pause for a second. Recognize what your brain is doing. It's not rejecting connection. It's protecting comfort. It's seeking clarity. It's asking for space to communicate in a way that feels natural to you. And maybe that's not something to fix. Maybe that's something to understand. Because in a world that's constantly demanding instant responses, there's something quietly powerful about a mind that says, give me a moment. I want to do this right. So I'm curious, when your phone rings, what do you feel first? Is it annoyance, pressure, curiosity, or something you've never really thought about until now? Let me know.